Good morning, Sasha and Hope. This is going to be the first of this semester's Warrior Wednesday. I know this is kind of more Sasha's thing, but you might hear some funny stories, Hopes, that you might enjoy. So I may have mentioned this. I probably have. And again, I'm going to pause for that airplane going over. So we'll see on the tape whether or not you can hear it or not, or if it's really filtering out the noise. But it's pretty loud to my ears. Um, I told this story at the recent elders meeting, and all the elders said that needs to go into a sermon. Um, so for this Warrior Wednesday, I'm going to talk about cell phones in Iraq. So, when I went over there as an advisor in 2008. At the time, there was kind of a big dust up when I got there, and we were able and are able to listen in on cell phone conversations. Without getting into how much or what we have to do that, we were able to listen in on their phone conversations. And we think that the Iraqis had kind of suspected it. They kind of sort of thought that we were doing it. But there was a meeting with a bunch of tribal leaders, and I think he was a lieutenant colonel at the time. He was an advisor. For whatever bizarre reason, in the middle of that meeting, he says something to the effect of, well, we can listen in on all your conversations over the cell phones. Now, he was almost court-martialed for this, because over the next 3 months, all cell phone signal intelligence, it dropped off a cliff. We had no intel off of cell phones anymore. And when I told that story, I was highlighting the fact that it's one thing to think you know something. It's another thing to know that you know it. In fact, we had someone in a position of authority who was trusted that they would have that knowledge to come out and say something and confirm that. And so that's your Warrior Wednesday, Sasha. When you're in a position of authority, right? When you say something like, "This sucks," right? You're considered in a position of authority. And so when you're everyone may know that it sucks. It's raining and we haven't eaten and all we have is MREs and we're waiting around or whatever. When you as a leader give voice to that, you're kind of confirming in everyone's mind that something is messed up, or this really sucks, or we're suffering out here. It actually adds some weight. So just want you to realize that. I was a bit of a complainer all throughout West Point. And then at some point, it really did kind of hit me that I needed to stop doing that. And I don't remember ever having an instance where someone told me I should do that, other than when I was a rising sophomore. I kind of got a negative counseling statement that said, "Yeah, you complain too much," which I kind of thought I complained like everyone else. But his writing had been rated as part of my rating. Had been told I complain, and I guess the words were something to the effect of, "I complained more than anyone else," or I was a big complainer or whatever. And so, I learned to sort of complain internally. And not externally. In fact, there's a fun. I don't know if you've ever seen Saving Private Ryan. There's a kind of a funny interchange with Tom Hanks, who's the captain and he kind of says, they were kind of talking, the men were about, we never hear you complaining. He says, well, because you always complain up, never down. And so they were all below him in rank. So he was saying, I would never complain to you guys because it doesn't do any good. If I'm going to complain, it would really be on behalf of my troops, and it would be up, but my troops wouldn't know that I'm complaining. I would complain up the chain of command. So just something to think about. Like I said, when you're peer and peer, it's peer leadership, peer groups, it's hard to not kind of complain, especially, the Army, hurry up and wait, and, resources aren't there, and someone's doing something dumb or whatever. It's hard not to. I think that it is something that you could do that would probably make you stand out a little bit, is not complaining as much as others, and being, again, positivity, not my thing, but just maybe a little stoicism, a little bit of, we'll get through this. You don't have to be like the rah-rah cheerleader, which I am not, but just a little bit more of the quiet, kind of confidence that we're going to get through this, rather than complaining. So that's your Warrior Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed it. trying to get back on track. All right, talk to you later. Love you. Bye-bye.